Hey, I'm Jay from the Kubz Scouts. Welcome back to another episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. This trial is still going on, guys. The case of Lana Skye is still going on. I can't believe this. We just found some stuff out about Emma. It ended on a crazy cliffhanger. We're about to jump back right into it right now. If you guys are cool with that, you down with that? Everybody get ready and buckle up, because here we go. February 25th, 12:06, District Court Defendant Lobby number 2. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Huh, don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Later, buddy. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? Yeah, fade back in. You've got a lot of nerve, pal. Making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here? I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lana's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give you this if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law? Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. You could at least study some evidence law, really. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said, if you're planning to take him on, you're gonna need this book. Him. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Evidence law securely slipped into pocket. From Miss Skye explains the 2 rules of evidence law. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat? Despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth! The real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out she unwittingly caused a man's death. And now, you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal! You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? And we're gonna expose him. No matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Okay, so I'm assuming they're talking about Chief Detective Gant, right? Is that his name, Chief Detective Gant? I know that his name is Gant, but you know what? That doesn't even matter. I think it's Gant. We're gonna figure it out right now. District Court, courtroom number 9. People already here discussing things. We haven't even talked about anything yet. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor? The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Yeah, take a bow for that. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, ahem. Normally, this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness. But, ahem. This isn't easy to say. You see, there was some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain? You think I may have manipulated the witnesses? I didn't say that! It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? But there is no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The, defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright? You do realize this is your last chance? If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls. The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. It's Gant. Because it's not him, he's a moron. It's not him because he just wanted some justice for his bro. He's dead. Gumshoe's an idiot. She didn't do it. She didn't do it. And I'm pretty sure she didn't do it. So we're gonna wind it up and say, take that! Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything? As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should be still in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. All right. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Yes! We chose the right guy. Yeah, twiddle that hair. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this? Some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation! So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean the time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal? Weapons? Sure, take my testimony for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony. Okay, guys. First testimony, Damon Gant. Guys, you gotta lock in. This is the big fish here. You gotta lock in, okay? I'm trusting you to lock in because I'm locked in. You gotta lock in. Let's go. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. The power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Is that when Dark was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. Yeah, that's a big ol' yikes right there. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. Hey, pause on that, my guy. Alright, cross-examination. Let me check something out before I do anything, guys. Let me check the court record real quick. I want to look at this book, because I'm supposed to read it thoroughly, right? So let's see. Rules for submitting evidence. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Rule 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Okay, I'll remember that. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. Let's hold that. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Dark and made him run away like that. Was the defendant, Lana Skye, also present in the room? I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. Why did you slip up? How? Tell me. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky. What's this about a power outage? Oh, that's... The elevator stopped all of a sudden and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil when that knife went into his heart, though. That's not funny. That isn't funny. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. What was she doing, buddy? Could you tell us what you saw? It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor? Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls, Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. What does that even mean? How can you know that? Because of the victim's body, it had already been moved. So that means... You found the body near Lana's desk? That's right. I think you said earlier it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor? Yes. Anyway, as you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. So you're saying that the forgery had already been taken place by the time you arrived at your office? That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt, but moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. Is that how it really went down? Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you're better off staring at the court record or your beautiful face, hey? Worthy, always the smooth talker. But which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link Gant to the incident. Okay, I can do that. Let me see the evidence though, because we have so many. Look at all this evidence. Found in Chief Gant's safe, evidence for something, but what? Bears Emma Skye's prints. Huh. Okay, that could tie him to the crime. This could actually tie him to the crime. The piece of cloth? We just gotta figure out which one to do it at. I think it's like, see, I had nothing to do with that. Let's see. He said, as you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Let's do this. We are gonna wind it up with the piece of cloth, and we are gonna say, OBJECTION! If you really had nothing to do with the forgery, then how do you explain this? What's that? And what's that on it? A handprint? Chief Gant, your explanation, please! Oh yeah, silence is always golden. I don't know, you tell me, son. Huh? My dear Righto, don't you know the second rule of evidence law? Oh, not this again. Evidence law. Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Tell me, how is that rag relevant to this trial? It appears the defense was not prepared. I guess it's too early to use this piece of evidence. Please accept my profound apologies, Chief. Would you mind giving the defense another chance? Well, okay, I'll do it just this once, but only because you asked, Edgey. Thank you. I assure you the defense is terribly sorry. Yeah, sorry I didn't nail you. Whoa, hey! Man, the judge might have a wife and kids, so might Gant. Don't be talking about nailing anybody. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. Okay, so that wasn't even it? Okay, he said he had nothing to do with the forgery, but let's see here. Let's go back, and let's check the evidence list. Found on Gant's desk. Oh, that could be it too. Okay, it was found on his desk. So, since my hand is already warmed up, guys, we're gonna say objection! You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this list, for example. That's the list Emma Sky drew her picture on. This was discovered in your desk. Not only that, but a piece of this jar that was sitting in your office was found inside your safe! It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation! Yes, guys, the illegal investigation! Chief Gant, what is the meaning of this? Oh! Here's the defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then? That you were involved in the forgery? Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? Yes, object that. Protect me! However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. Dick will receive his due punishment? Oh no, not Dick! What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. Yes, well, in the light of detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office and the relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Witness testimony number 2, guys. Come on. We gotta do this. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Let's see. What was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor? When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Ooh. Indeed, I believe I will press charges so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. All right, Edgey. In return, though. I know. That place, right? Huh? What are these guys? Telepathic? What do you mean, same place? What you guys doing at the same place? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. I'm gonna hold everything, guys. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped. Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're gonna need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when Righto's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal. I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy! Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet, Righto. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. Hold it! Are you saying this jar fragment, wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The chief is talking about a possibility, so as long as you can't rule that out, your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come on, Righto. Think about it. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all this. Oh? I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would, of course, be the position you have. Chief of Police. Oh! The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Ho 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 ho! Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes, he was gonna be made chief anyway. Ugh! Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There. It's out in the open now. Edgey, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Nothing in it for you. Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be laxing up on yourself, though. Ho, ho, ho! Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Point out accomplice. Ooh. Ooh, I feel like since this thing's popped up, I feel like it has to be clicked on. True, you might not help out anyone for their sake. But if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Very well then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? Okay, there's only one person that I can think of that he would help. It would obviously have to be Lana Skye, right? Because Lana Skye knew that her sister accidentally killed this guy's brother, so he would be helping her. So we're gonna wind that up and we're gonna say... Take that! Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye? The defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in the light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all of this? He would be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Bro. Oh, wait! You must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive, to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her! Righto, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless... that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about... the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? What? Yes, guys, what? That's what he said. I said, Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's impossible. No, guys, it's not impossible. It is possible. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good! Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Okay. Alright. Well, it's definitely not evidence law. Or is it? Is it evidence law? Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Okay, let's keep a look-see here. Let's keep a looky-wookie here. You know, the more I actually think about it, though, I think it's this. Because he was inside here at 4:20 p.m. He was 7777777. He was inside there, so obviously he was up to no good. He killed Bruce Goodman inside there, moved the body into the car, had Lana, you know, stab him to make it look like she did it, and that's what happened. So I am going to show that, wind it up, and I'm gonna say, take that! This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7777777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean... I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7777777. The same one as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant! You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime! Yes, guys, the day of the crime, he was... Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations. And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Oh, of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. Objection! Yeah, object that bullshit. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant? I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. Objection! No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. Okay. Is it this? Victim's memo found in the trunk, Goodman's note, SL9, please be it. I got 5 chances, so I'm taking this one. Take that! No, there's got to be something more solid than this. Okay, I'm sorry! Okay. Oh, God, I got it. Oh, God. Okay, we're gonna figure it out. Oh, right here. Goodman's lost item report. A half-written document dated 2/21. Can only be submitted to the Chief of Police. Chief of Police is Gant, so you're gonna take that! Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the Chief of Police! Yet you are in possession of that report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Yes, guys, no other way. Hold on, let me guess what you're gonna say next. I, the Chief of Police, murdered poor Goodman! Exactly. But wait! The Chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have... Okay. Sorry, Edgy boy. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body! No! That was actually a cool looking image right there. Chief Gant! You didn't! The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the Chief of Police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need. to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief can't use this. This thing, right? Was allegedly dancing in the evidence room at the time of the murder? Yeah. He used the blue badger to move the body. It's gotta be, because it's so big. I think that's what it is. Please, 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 please. Take that! Well, I see. Maybe I'll use this later to move your dead body, Mr. Wright. Huh? Oh, dude, that wasn't even it. And I'll help you dispose of it. Chief Gant stayed at the PD and Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office. That leaves only one possible way you could have moved the body. Okay, let me actually think. Let me actually think for real. I have no idea, but it's gotta be this, right? So, take that, please. Well, oh no, that's not it. Yikes, yikes. Oh man, what's going on with me right now? I got 2 more chances, guys. Miles Edgeworth, 1712. It stated the day of the murder. Okay. Huh. Edgeworth's knife. King of Prosecutor's trophy. Evidence from a past case of Edgeworth's brought back to his office by Gant's request. Is that it? The screwdriver? Evidence from a past case of Edgeworth's brought back to his office by Gant's request. So... wait, let me see Goodman's autopsy report. So, his name is Bruce Goodman. He died between 4 and 5:30. Cause of death, loss of blood from the chest wound. Wound was caused by a 4.5-inch knife. A single stab wound was found. Where did they find the body again? In the back of a car, right? The only way he could have moved it was with a car. I tried showing the crime scene photo of the car, but I think that I gotta show the parking stub, so let me actually wind it up and say, take that! This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. A parking stub? Miles Edgeworth? You mean... the body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car! Yes, that very car. Miles Edgey Boy's car. You mean I carried the victim's body? Precisely so. But wait! Even you know, I didn't plan on returning to my office after the ceremony finished that day. But you did return! Tell me, why? Ah! I was asked to go, by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. So you see, what you were really taking to the prosecutor's office wasn't the screwdriver, but the victim's body in your trunk! Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car! Yes, unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk! Chief Gant, please, say something! I believe... your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're gonna make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet! Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify? I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked! There are certain risks to be considered. So you're gonna just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor? Do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Guy dispose of his body? Do I have any concrete proof? Present evidence? I have no proof yet. I don't think we have proof yet, and that's what I'm gonna say right now. It's no use showing evidence I'm not sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. Huh! See, Edgey? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. Oh no. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Righto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Edgey, I'll leave the rest to you. Oh, he disappeared! Oh my god. Did I mess this whole thing up? I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to the senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. Oh my god. Oh, thank you. I freaking love you, Edgy boy. Lady Luck, huh? Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth? What do you mean? There's one lady who knows the truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth. Another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all the questions. Raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room. Lana? Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? Huh. Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth. But we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth... Oh, so it is Lana. Because he just said that she can't tell the truth, so it's definitely Lana Skye. The defendant? Miss Lana Skye? She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21. Her task, to dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in Hold on. Huh? Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder! Oh, this isn't good. Of course, you'd never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then. I've got a lunch date to meet. Whew, man, this guy is so freaking evil. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. Another recess? You gotta be joking me. February 25, 2:04 p.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 2. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief! He's something else, eh, pals? Detective Gumshoe! I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office! My office? Sure! I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Could he mean... Aw, Maya? Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair that he has the right to refuse to testify. Huh. Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said? But Chief, that is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Risks? What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? There you are. Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside, to force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. I see. Well, we'd better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait? No, I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. Alright, guys. So they are about to end this. If you guys are ready for us to end this as well, make sure you guys give this video one big fat like. And tell a friend today that Jay from the Kubz Scouts is that dude!